Big Green, and everything in between. We're talking about what's happening in your hometown. This is Hometown Today on 95.3 WBEV, powered by Daily Dodge.
Good morning and welcome to Hometown Today on 95.3 WBEV, powered by Daily Dodge. Hometown Today is presented by Professional Floor Covering, also brought to you by McKinstry's Home Furnishings in downtown Beaver Dam. And of course, we love that it's Friday, but we love even more that on this Friday morning we get to kick things off by chatting with Sandy over at McKinstry's Home Furnishings. Good morning, Sandy.
Good morning, Gail.
How are you on this fine Friday morning?
I'm doing fine. I'm waiting for some sunshine to pop out, though.
Yeah, I would like to see some of that, too. And it looks like we'll get some tomorrow, which is good because there's something coming up tomorrow that we're going to talk about in just a minute. Did you get a chance to catch any of the draft last night by chance?
You know, I really didn't watch it, but I, of course, heard who the Packers took. And
how
exciting.
Yeah, I mean, first wide receiver in 23 years. I think that's kind of good news for the Packers.
Yeah, and it's an important position.
Exactly. Well, lots of great stuff happening over at McKinstry's Home Furnishings right now. Sandy, let's talk first about this big mattress and area rug clearance event that you guys have going on.
Yeah, so spring is a lot of times where we get new product coming out in the furniture industry, as well as old being discontinued to make room for the new. So we have a mattress clearance sale going on. So any of the mattresses we have in stock right now, we are clearancing out. The queen size sets start at just under $300, so you can get a mattress and a foundation for just under $300. But we have twin, full, and queen size, and there's a lot of different ones available. Of course, we have the area rug clearance sale continuing on, too. So we've got a bunch of rugs, all kinds of different styles. There's braided rugs, there's cut piles, there's loops, contemporary, traditional. You know, there's so many different looks in the area rugs that we have also. And then we have our lift chairs, too. We've got a bunch of lift chairs that are on clearance, and those start at $599 for a lift chair. So there's lots of different things going on there. Again, you know, kind of refreshing for spring here.
Yeah, exactly. You know, there was like 200,000 plus people up in Green Bay last night for a big event. Little do they know, there's a big event going on right there at McKinstry's Home Furnishings in downtown Beaver Dam. And Sandy, as I mentioned, it looks like the forecast is looking pretty nice for tomorrow, which is great because I know you guys are really excited for an event coming up downtown tomorrow.
Yeah, so tomorrow's the Earth Day cleanup in downtown Beaver Dam. There's so many different things that you can do. If you go to, I think it's the Beaver Dam Chamber, you'll be able to find some different links to the Earth Day program. If you want to help clean up downtown Beaver Dam, just meet at the American Bank Square, which is kind of behind our store and behind the bank, and that's from 9 to 10:30. There's going to be tree planting. So there'll be a tree planting ceremony on Front Street about 10:30, it looks like. You can stop in. We have some trash bags. You can stop in and pick up a trash bag, take it home, and clean up your yard. There's always things in the yard in the spring that you need to clean up. Electronics recycling from 9 to noon going on. In the Tower parking lot, it's kind of behind Spring Street. I think if you get down to the parking lot, you'll be able to see where things are. Upcycling book event from the library, coloring contests. There's just going to be all kinds of different art projects, it looks like, all kinds of different things going on in the downtown area tomorrow.
Yeah. I know we recently spoke with Dana Springer from Downtown Beaver Dam Inc., which is part of that event as well, and she was even telling us that there's going to be some Annabelle's gift cards hidden around the downtown area for cleanup, so you might find some treasures in all that trash. So great opportunity to come out, support the community. We love having things clean, so really looking forward to that. And like I said, the forecast is looking pretty nice. So Sandy, before we let you go, remind folks where they can find McKinstry's.
We are right downtown Beaver Dam in the center of Front Street. You'll see the red awning out front. And yes, if you haven't been downtown lately, stop on down. There is just so many different new businesses and stuff going on in downtown Beaver Dam too, both on Spring Street and on Front Street. So take a look around.
All right, fantastic. Well, Sandy, thanks so much. It's always great to chat with you, and have a fantastic weekend.
We're going to also have free popcorn tomorrow if anyone's
Ooh.
downtown and needs a little snack.
That sounds great to me. Have a fantastic weekend, Sandy.
Thanks, you too.
All
Bye.
right, that is Sandy with McKinstry's Home Furnishings in downtown Beaver Dam. We're going to step out for a quick minute. When we come back, we've got a local resident here we're going to talk about that has a very, very interesting story. Looking forward to that conversation when we come back here on Hometown Today from 95.3 WBEV, powered by Daily Dodge.
Owner of Professional Floor Covering, welcoming you back to Hometown Today on your hometown station, 95.3 WBEV, powered by Daily Dodge.
And welcome back to Hometown Today on 95.3 WBEV, powered by Daily Dodge. Hometown Today is presented by Professional Floor Covering, also brought to you by McKinstry's Home Furnishings in downtown Beaver Dam. Well, we are super excited to welcome in our first guest on the show this morning. On Hometown Today, we get the chance to sit down with a lot of interesting organizations, nonprofit, community event hosts, and once in a while we get a chance to talk with somebody who's just got a very interesting story to tell. And today is definitely one of those days. We're excited to be joined by Gail, local Dodge County resident and world-class marathon runner. Gail, so glad to have you here on the show this morning.
Oh, I'm glad to be here.
Well, super excited to get to know a little bit about you, and you've got some pretty interesting experiences when it comes to running marathons, and we're going to get into to some of those here in a little bit. But if you would just start to talk a little bit about your background and kind of how you got into marathon running in the first place.
Okay, well, my running actually goes all the way back to high school. So early 70s, I was running in high school, but sprints, 100, well, at the time it was yards, so the 100-yard dash, the 220, relays, things like that. Then as I started my family and was working, I was running just recreationally for fitness. In my 40s and early 50s, I was exclusively a cyclist. I cycled all over Europe, would go to Europe every year to cycle the mountains. And then at about age 55, I got the bug, I guess, to run a marathon. I'd been running some half marathons,
Okay.
Switched over to the marathon distance. and trained with a shoe store in Madison, Fleet Feet, to run a destination marathon. So we ran in Miami in 2012. And that's where it all started. And once you run your first one, it's a slippery slope because then you say, I can do better
Kind
than
of that
that.
first taste.
Yeah, I can do better than that. And so then I ran my next one, and that's where I first qualified for Boston on my second marathon. And
Fascinating.
In 20.
So you, we were talking a little bit before we went on the air about the fact that you kind of were a cyclist first and then a marathon runner, which we were talking about the fact that that's kind of reverse from what typically is the case, right? It's kind of usually goes the other way, doesn't it?
Yeah, usually runners will start to have problems with their hips or their knees or their ankles, and so they say, I've got to give up running, but hey, I can still cycle. For me, I cycled, I think, I don't know, it was just my passion at the time. And then at one point, I was like, really just wanted to switch over to being a runner. So I've kind of hung the bike up. It's gotten kind of dangerous out on the roads anyway. And yeah, I've just been running exclusively.
So you've been a runner doing marathons for about decade and a half
13
by
years.
my math.
Yep,
Yeah,
first
so
one's
about a decade and a
2012.
half. Okay,
Yep.
very good. Well, let's talk a little bit about some of your experiences because you've had some really interesting marathon. You teased a few of those, but talk about some of the different marathons you've run. I mean, talk about some of the different places you've been first and foremost.
Yeah. So I belong to what's called the Seven Continents Club. I've run a marathon on all 7 continents, so of course that includes Antarctica.
Okay. And for those listening on 95.3 WBEV, you may want to switch over to Daily Dodge TV. We've got a picture up on the video stream right now of this. I'm assuming this is you finishing
That's me finishing
the Antarctica marathon. What's it like running a marathon in Antarctica?
Well, it was supposed to be like a crazy 8-shaped course. So you'd run. It was an 8-mile course, and you'd run 3 loops. Well, the back half was underwater. It had been a milder stretch there, and it was all mud. So then we wound up running 6 laps of just one half of the course, and it was everything from mud to gravel to rocks. And we were running on the roads between the scientific outposts. They weren't really roads. they were
roads is putting it nicely.
Yeah, they were not paved, let's put it that way. But yeah, it was not all that cold. It was about 32 that day, so I think it was actually colder in Wisconsin on the day I ran than it was there. It was in March, so kind of their summer months, but are definitely colder in Wisconsin that day.
Yeah, so being from Wisconsin kind of helped the body to that a little bit.
I didn't struggle with the cold at all. No.
Okay, very good. Talk about Antarctica. Talk about some of the other places you've been. You've ran on all seven continents. Talk about some of the different locations on some of the different continents.
Yeah, so Africa was Kenya. We ran in the Masai Mara. Again, no roads. They had gone out and spray painted the rocks orange, so you followed the course following these orange spray painted rocks. There were National Guards, the African National Guards out there with rifles to keep the animals at bay.
This is not like you're actually out there with like lions and giraffes and things.
But we were high enough up, and it was a very warm, dry. So most of the animals had migrated south to the watering hole. So I never personally saw anything while I was out there, but they were definitely protecting.
Yeah, just in case.
To fire warning shots if anything came. South America, I ran in Rio, so that was that was more of an urban marathon.
Yeah.
And then Tokyo was my Asia continent. Ran in New Zealand in Queenstown for my Eurasia or Oceania, I guess they call that. And I've had several in the States, but yeah, that's...
Yeah, what are a couple of the different ones you've done here stateside?
Well, I've run, there's this series called the World Majors, which it's Abbott Medical puts that on, but it's very popular. So Chicago, New York, and Boston are all part of that series. So I've run, that's...
How many times have you run the Boston Marathon?
Just ran it this past Monday.
Yeah.
It's always held on the 3rd Monday in April. That's Patriots Day. So that's kind of a state holiday. Everyone has off from work, so they always run it on Patriots Day. That was my 12th Boston Marathon.
Okay.
So.
And it's people may not realize, and you were just telling me about this before we went on the air. There's there's a process to getting into that. Like, you don't just show up and get to run in that. Can you talk a little bit about like how that works?
So Boston's the most prestigious marathon in the world.
Yeah.
Part of it is because it's the longest running marathon. This was the 129th running of the Boston Marathon this year. But you have to qualify for Boston, and that's the other thing that makes it unique. Most other marathons in the world, sometimes you need a lottery to get in if it's a really popular marathon, but there aren't a lot of other marathons that you have to qualify for. So there's that whole process of finally qualifying for Boston, but even once you qualify, there are so many entrants that they can only take 30,000 runners because of the width of the roads. This marathon starts out in Hopkinton, runs all the way back to Boston, goes through 6 really small towns before it gets to Boston. The roads are only just so wide, and they can only keep them closed down for just so long.
Oh, sure.
As we're in New York and London, they have 55 to 60,000 people, but they have a wider road system, and they're just able to accommodate more runners. But Boston's limited, and so it starts really late in the day. Like, I didn't start running until almost 11 o'clock. But then they have to have the roads open again by 5:30. So that's why it takes so long to get everybody launched. And
Sure. So you've run the Boston Marathon about 12 times now, and you were there in 2013 when the bombing happened. Walk us through, what was it like being there during that time?
Yeah, so that was my first Boston Marathon. So
oh wow, your first too. Okay.
Yeah, super exciting. It was just a great day, and it was warm and it was sunny and everything was going well. I was younger, was running much faster, and so I had been finished for at least 20 minutes before the bombs went off. So when you cross the finish line in Boylston, you get your medal and things, and then they route you up 1 block over. They've got all the letters of the alphabet. So the system is you go stand under your letter so that your family members can find you easily. So I was standing under my W, waiting for I had 5 family members out there watching me that day. And all of a sudden the first blast went off. And it was just kind of one of those, everybody paused. We all looked at each other and wasn't really sure what had happened.
Yeah.
And then 2-3 minutes later, I'm not sure of the exact time frame, the second bomb went off. And by then, people were starting. And there were some military people scattered throughout the group who did identify it as that sounded like a bomb.
Okay.
So then my family members caught up to me. We were just chit-chatting, all excited to be, back together. And then all of a sudden, the police parted we were on a pedestrian. They had closed it off to traffic, made us all jump up on the sidewalks, and they were rushing the ambulances through. So at that point, you knew something was wrong.
So what happens after that for you guys? Do you head back to a hotel for the remainder of the day?
Yeah, we were staying out at Boston Harbor Hotel, which was a mile away from the finish line. And my daughter called her husband to see if there was anything on the news about an explosion in Boston. And then they took the cell phone towers down. So we lost all communication with him, and then we walked all the way back to our hotel. It wasn't until we opened the door and walked in the lobby and the TVs were on that we actually finally knew what had happened. So,
okay, I was curious what was the what was the feel back at the hotel? All the TVs on, people kind of going
very somber,
and,
very somber,
in disbelief, I imagine.
Both of my kids were grown and had careers, and they, of course, had all kinds of people at their work that were concerned about.
Worried about,
all of a sudden, everyone was trying to get a hold of, and all of our relatives from back in Wisconsin were wondering if we were safe.
Yeah.
And my workplace was wondering if so. It was a pretty hectic time to reach out to everyone.
Was it tempting to let that? You obviously went back. You've run 12 now. That was your first. Was it tempting at any point to let that deter you from running again, or did it kind of make you want to go back? What did it do there?
Well, I was also scheduled to run New York that year. So Boston's in April. New York is always the first Sunday in November. So that was really the first next one that I went to where it was in a large setting. And it was very eerie kind of. I got on the ferry at Staten Island, and or a Staten Island ferry. And as we were going out across the water with the ferry, there were U-boats on both sides of us with machine guns. And there were helicopters flying over the top. So they were very much had stepped up security from what I would imagine it had been other years.
It's got to be pretty sobering seeing that.
It was almost like you didn't know whether to feel safe or threatened by the fact that they thought we needed it, but they were there, so we were safe. So it was
kind of mixed emotions. Can you talk a little bit about? So you've been doing this about 13 years. What what goes into prepping for running a marathon? What do you doing to prep?
Well, I have a coach. I've had a coach for
Okay.
ever since my second marathon. I got a coach. I've been with E3, which is the group I train with out of Madison.
Okay.
So my coach writes a weekly plan, which I'm usually running 4 to 5 times a week. But I also do a lot of cross training. I'll do at least 3 strength workouts a week. I do rowing. I do cycling, usually on an indoor trainer for cycling. Yoga, if I can squeeze that in. I would like to do more yoga. I have a sports massage person that I see every 3 weeks. I have a performance physical therapist who just works on whatever area that I feel like I need some strengthening in. So it's a whole team. It's a
Yeah.
whole team of people to stay healthy, especially at my age.
How many hours a week do you think on just an average week do you think you put in running?
Well, when it gets to be like in your marathons, you start with, maybe your long run is 7 miles, then you go up 9, 11, 13, and you're kind of bouncing back and forth. I usually get up to about a 20 or 21. You never need to run a full marathon before you run a marathon. You just don't need to get that high.
Sure.
But,
Let you brag a little bit. What's your best time?
My best time happened when I was about 57. That
Okay.
was Tokyo. Is a 3:40. And
Not bad.
Given that I didn't start running till I was 55, I can only guess I would have run much better in my earlier years. But,
I'll be honest. I'm a little younger than you. I would be thrilled to just finish at this point. So that's pretty impressive. And I won't give your age away, but you certainly don't look it. Do you feel like doing this marathon running has kept you young?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's the health benefits. I mean, studies have proven, improved cardiovascular, lower incidence of diabetes and heart disease and, hypertension. It's all good.
Yeah. Well, we're almost out of time with you, but what's plans for the future? Do you have your next marathon in your sights? What's the plan?
I'm always 2 or 3 marathons out.
Okay.
My next one is Grandma's in Duluth.
Okay.
That's pretty traditional for me. I'll run Boston in April, and Grandma's is the 3rd Saturday in June every year. So it gives me about 8 weeks to recover,
Okay.
which isn't really recommended. Some people run 12 marathons a year. Some people run 2 marathons a year. I try to get in about 4.
Okay.
And then I will be running New York again this year. It's the Abbott World Age Group Championships, which you have to be invited to. So the qualifying times for Abbott are about half an hour faster even than Boston.
Oh, wow.
So it's an invitation only, and so that is being run in New York this year. So
Okay. And when is that one coming up?
that'll be the first Sunday in November.
In November. So you got Iowa in June and New York in November. So very good. Anything else you didn't get to mention before we let you go?
The thing about marathoning, and I usually run with Marathon Tours out of Boston, and they take you to the city, and then they've booked all the hotels, and then there's always extensions they add on. So, we went to Jerusalem, we saw the Holy Land. When we were in Kenya, we did safaris. When, of course, Antarctica was a lot of whale watching and going out on dinghies, and it's just. I've met amazing people, friends that will be my lifelong friends, and seen places I would never have gotten to if it weren't for running. So,
Well, that's awesome. Gail White, local Dodge County resident, marathon runner. Gail, it was so great to have you in and get to know you a little bit, and good luck on your other upcoming marathons here.
Oh,
Excited
thank
to
you.
see how you do.
yeah, thank you very much.
All right. Again, Gail White, local Dodge County resident and world-class marathon runner. We're going to step out for a quick break. When we come back, we're going to talk with the Watertown Players about a show they've got coming up very, very soon. That's next on Hometown Today from 95.3 WBEV, powered by Daily Dodge. And welcome back to Hometown Today on 95.3 WBEV, powered by Daily Dodge. Hometown Today is presented by Professional Floor Covering, your store for floors, and so much more. They are locally owned. Randy and his team are here to help you design the perfect space, including in your bathroom. It's nice to have a beautiful bathroom to just relax and unwind. It should be a sanctuary for you, and their team is there to help you design a shower that you can do exactly that. From color, material choice, size, and arrangement, it's a lot of design choices that need to be made before beginning the remodeling process, and they can help. Maybe you want to do some glass enclosures, add some glass panels for a more spacious and luxurious feel, or if it's tougher to get in and out of that tub these days, they're happy to help with a great tub to shower conversion as well. Professional Floor Covering, located at 713 Park Avenue in Beaver Dam, online at proflr.com. Again, our thanks to Gail White for joining us in our first segment, and in this segment we're really excited to be joined with by a couple of the folks with the Watertown Players, who've got a show coming up very, very soon. We have joining us the director, Jenny Ortega, Greg Coots, part of the cast, and we'll get into some of their characters here in just a minute, but the cast, Greg Coots, Kayla George, and Jeff Boyce, all joining us this morning. Thanks for being here, guys.
Thanks for having us. Thank you.
First and foremost, let's start with talking a little bit about the show that is coming up, and give us some of the pertinent details there.
So the show that we have coming up is called A Little Murder Never Hurt Anybody, which is a fascinating title.
It's a very intriguing title.
It is
I'm
an
not gonna
intriguing
lie.
title. I like to say that there are pretty much three reasons I like to direct shows. I love the script. It's got humor. I can't remember the second one. And the third one is an interesting title. And this one, it just grabbed me right away. So the storyline is, there's a couple storylines within the show.
Okay.
But the first one is that there's a New Year's Eve resolution between the couple, the main couple, who unfortunately couldn't join us today. But they have a New Year's resolution, and the New Year's resolution, I don't think I can give too much away, is that the husband has vowed to kill his wife before the new year comes around.
It's an interesting resolution.
Yes, because he wants to have fun, like his friend who just lost his wife. His best friend can travel and have a good time because his wife died. So he wants to kill his wife. The wife's resolution is to not get killed. So it is a great premise that way. There's another kind of subplot with Greg, who he will talk in a little bit, but he plays the butler, and there's a little bit of a side plot with him and one of our other characters. And then we have Bunny, who is the daughter of the couple, and Bunny is true to her name and is a little bit ditzy. But she is getting married to someone whose name is Donald. And then we have Detective Plotnick, played by Jeff, who is a, what era? 40s,
Sam Spade,
50s?
40s.
Yeah, 40s detective who no one can really understand what he's talking about. Because he
Okay.
talks about all these things like slipping Mickeys into drinks. And
Dames and broads.
dames and broads and that kind of thing. So it's very funny. It goes through the whole year from the New Year's of 1 year to the New Year's of the next year to find out what exactly happens to the couple.
Sounds like a fascinating show. A Little Murder Never Hurt Anybody, coming to give them the details again, dates, times, location.
So the performances are this coming weekend, Friday and Saturday, April 25th and 26th at 7 p.m. And then next weekend, so the 2nd through the 4th of May, on Friday and Saturday night at 7 p.m. and a matinee at 2 o'clock on the 4th on Sunday.
All right, that is Jenny Ortega. She is the director of the show. We've got to step out for a quick break. When we come back, we're going to talk a little with the cast and get to know them and their characters as well. That's coming up on Hometown Today from 95.3 WBEV, powered by Daily Dodge.
professional floor covering, and you're listening to Hometown Today on your hometown station, 95.3 WBEV, powered by Daily Dodge.
And welcome back to Hometown Today on 95.3 WBEV, powered by Daily Dodge. Hometown Today is presented by Professional Floor Covering, also brought to you by McKinstry's Home Furnishings in downtown Beaver Dam. We are back with some of the members of the Watertown Players gearing up for their show, A Little Murder Never Hurt Anybody. We have the director, Jenny Ortega, and now we get a chance to chat a little bit with a couple of the cast members, and we'll start over here with Greg Coots. Morning, Greg. Thanks for being here this morning.
Morning. Thank you so much for having us.
Tell us a little bit about who you're going to be playing and a little bit about that character.
I will be playing a character named Buttram, who is the butler in the household. And Buttram has kind of a tense relationship with the husband and a kind of loving relationship with the wife, and that there's a little bit of tension there as the play goes on, how he gets along with one of them very well and one of them not at all.
Yeah, I mean, that puts him in a pretty peculiar position, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Is there anything with this character that you find yourself relating to at all?
When I was cast as Buttram and read through the script, I really related to the being fed up with your boss at work. So that I've been able to channel that pretty well, and I think that comes through a little bit in the show.
You know what? I bet there's going to be plenty of people that come to see the show that can probably relate to that as well. That is Greg Coots. He's playing Buttram in A Little Murder Never Hurt Anybody. Kayla George is with us as well. Kayla, thanks for being here this morning.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here.
Yeah, tell us a little bit about the character you're going to be playing in this production.
So I'm playing Bunny. She's the daughter of the main couple of the story.
Okay.
She's not very bright. She's very indecisive. Values that maybe more than she should. But yeah, she's just kind of there for laughs.
Yeah.
She's just not bright at all.
Is there anything in particular you enjoy about playing Bunny?
I noticed I've been typecast as this ditzy character, which has been kind of fun because I don't know. I'm not saying that I'm like smart or anything, but like I don't know. I definitely have my moments where I'm like, you know what, I can relate to this right now. And she's very emotional, which I have my times too. So just kind of fun to play a little bit of a different character than what I am in real life.
Mm-hmm. That is Kayla George. She'll be playing Bunny, and we also have Jeff Boyce joining us. Jeff, talk a little bit about the character you're going to be playing in this production.
Hi, I'm playing Detective Plotnick, who's kind of a film noir 1940s Sam Spade detective wearing a trench coat and all that kind of stuff, and he just kind of is trying to figure out what's going on in this household. There's a lot of deaths happening, and he's wondering what's going on.
Yeah, it sounds like he doesn't have a very easy job either.
He doesn't have an easy job, and he doesn't have a clue.
Yeah,
he's looking for clues, but he doesn't have a clue.
Is there anything about your character that you find yourself relating to?
I love doing accents and I love listening to different dialects. I lived all over the country, all over the world, and listen to different dialects and so forth. And so it's language is fascinating, and the way that you get an opportunity to talk like maybe a combination of James Cagney and some old, she walked into my office, that kind of stuff.
That is Jeff Boyce. He is playing Detective Plotnick, and some very, very fascinating characters here in this show. I want to go around the desk and talk a little bit about what you have found most challenging about getting into your character. Greg, we'll start with you. You're playing Buttram the butler. What have you found to be the biggest challenge?
Well, the biggest challenge in playing Buttram is just the the swings that he has and the back and forth that's there, and it's all or nothing. And as soon as someone walks in the door, he's got to be completely in a different mindset than what it was before. He's hiding some secrets, and you have parts in the play where you've got exposition and he's letting you in on those secrets. Then someone walks in the door and he has to go back to being the proper butler right away. So those sudden changes have been tough for me. That's been something that's really been something I've had to work on.
Kayla, you're playing Bunny. What have you found challenging about playing that character?
Being overly emotional and also just being very touchy-feely.
Okay. not your main go-to.
No,
okay.
no, I'm not really that kind of person that, like, I'll give you a hug for anything. I don't like physical contact for the most part. So with my character, I have to be very touchy-feely with my fiance. And that's been...
I will make sure when I shake all your hands at the end that I skip Kayla.
Right. No, so that's been... I mean, it's been kind of fun to get out of my comfort zone with that, too, just because I'm not used to that. But it's been difficult a little bit.
And Jeff, you're playing Detective Plotnick. What's been the challenge there?
Some really good physical comedy. I don't want to give away anything, but it's very physical and a lot of fun.
Okay, very good. One of the things I love asking cast members is to get you a little out of here. You're so used to playing your character. Share with us your favorite character in the show that is not your own. Greg, we'll start with you.
I absolutely love Jeff's character. I love Detective Plotnick, and Jeff just makes him just pop every time he walks in the door. It's like an old-timey detective just walked into the room, and it is hilarious every time.
Kayla, how about you? Favorite character that's not your own?
I have to say Buttram. I just love the the very back and forth of, like, he's a proper butler, but also he's very sassy towards the couple.
Very good. Jeff, how about you?
Bunny.
All right, so we've got like a theater love triangle.
Really, when I loved Bunny's part just watching in the auditions and watching people do the readings for Bunny in the auditions to this. The writing is so good for this ditzy, dumb little girl.
Right.
It's fantastic.
Again, we are joined by the cast of A Little Murder Never Hurt Anybody with the Watertown players. Greg Coots playing Buttram the butler. Kayla George is playing Bunny the daughter. And Jeff Boyce will be playing Detective Plotnick. And as you can tell, this is going to be a fascinating show. Jenny Ortega is the director. Jenny, how have rehearsals been going, and how has this cast kind of melded?
I've worked with all of them before, which makes it a joy.
I bet.
But they all get along very well. At least I think they do. At least on the surface, they get along very well. The main couple in the show are married, so we know that they get along for the most part. But everybody is very supportive of each other. Rehearsals, I'm going to say, the other night I thought, I can't believe we're already in Tech Week.
Yeah.
We usually do a 6-week rehearsal schedule, 3 nights a week or 3 rehearsals a week. Easter, we had one less rehearsal, but all of a sudden we were in Tech Week, and I think we all a little panicked. But Tech Week went really well, which is, I'm not sure if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but they're just such a great cast, and I'm very particular about lines being exact. They all know that about me. It's probably one of the things they hate most about me being a director, but that is what I am. And but they've come to the challenge, and it's so, I laugh a lot, and they make me laugh and make me cry with pride. So I'm very proud of this production.
Fantastic. Sounds like it's going to be a great show. Looking forward to it. And we're up against the clock, but if you would just remind everybody again, time, place, location, all those good details.
So the play is at the Watertown Players Theater, which is 210 South Water Street in Watertown. It's inside the market, which used to be an old lumber mill. It was a mall. And the performances are this Friday, tonight. Oh my gosh, that's tonight.
That's tonight. It's
tonight
Friday.
and tomorrow night at 7. Wow. And then next weekend on Friday and Saturday at 7 and Sunday at 2. Tickets are on sale. Now, today they would not be on sale for tonight. They'd be pulled from Piggly Wiggly, but you can go to Watertown Piggly Wiggly. You can also call our box office, which is 920-306-4364, and reserve your tickets. It's $15 in advance, which is, oh boy, you can't get that anywhere.
Right? Great.
And no tariff. It's
No
$15.
tariffs. Okay, good.
And then at the door it's $20, which is
Okay.
still very reasonable.
Yeah.
We also sell concessions, $1 for
Perfect.
some popcorn or a soda or some water. So there's lots of things, good things at the theater.
Fantastic. Again, that is Jenny Ortega. She is the director. We also have Greg Coots, Kayla George, and Jeff Boyce with the cast of A Little Murder Never Hurt Anybody with the Watertown Players. Thank you so much. That time flew by.
It did.
It was great getting to meet all of you. The show sounds fantastic. Can't wait to see it. And we'll definitely have to have you back before the next show then,
Yes.
coming up this summer.
Yeah,
So
thank you so much.
awesome. Appreciate that. That is going to do it
Thank
today
you.
for Hometown Today here on 95.3 WBEV, powered by Daily Dodge.